The biggest problem with available water for human consumption today is the population. Today, the population of the world is 7 billion people. By 2050, they project it'll be 9 billion people. Think about this. 65% of your body is water. You're tying up water that is not in the water cycle. So we got 7 billion today, we're going to have 9 billion in 2050. It's so difficult to talk about this because there's so many things that enter into why we should conserve water. But the bottom line of all of it is we've got to conserve water. We've got to do it. For instance, server farms today take up over 2% of all electricity generated. It requires water to generate electricity. It takes electricity to treat and distribute water. So conservation, not only with water, but electricity, is really important. And we need to get that message out to the rank and file citizen. All the water that is ever going to be has already been created. We don't know how to create water. 98% of that is tied up in the ocean and in the glaciers. Less than 2% of all the water is available for human consumption. The only way that we can get fresh water out of the ocean is through evaporation into the water cycle. The water evaporates, it collects in the clouds. The clouds move over somewhere else, and at a given time, under favorable circumstances, it drops the water, and it goes into this life. It goes into the earth. Some of it absorbs into the earth. Some of it is absorbed in plants, and the water gets back into the water cycle through transpiration, water leaving the leaves, and I mean, that's the water cycle, and we've known about the water cycle forever. 60% of all the energy that is generated today is coal generated. Coal-fired generators require a lot of water, a lot of water. 30% of all the electricity generated is nuclear. Not only does that demand a lot of water, but it sequesters the water and takes it out of the water cycle because it's contaminated, and it has to be sequestered in order to protect the public and clean air. Hydrofracking is a big issue today. The oil energy industry requires a lot of water, and they treat that water with chemicals that's not acceptable for human consumption. So what do they do with it? They bury it 5-6 miles down under the earth. They sequester it. It takes it out of the water cycle. When you do these things, you alter the hydrologic cycle, and that's how the water is circulated. By the year 2050, there's projected to be 9 billion people population. There are certain statistical people say that by that time there will be 7 billion people that do not have an adequate supply of potable, safe water. Well, the Shawnee Twin Lakes, I think, was completed in 1939, and at that time it had a dependable yield of about, if I got the statistics right, about 3.8 million gallons dependable yield a day. It's silted in, and its watershed is not nearly as large as West Watkins. The watershed for where the water drains into the lake is somewhere between 12 and 15,000 acres. West Watkins Reservoir has a dependable yield of 4.1 million gallons a day, but they have a watershed of 39,000 acres. So if we get a good rainfall, which we just have, in that watershed area, the lake will regenerate quicker than the Twin Lakes can. You should be concerned about supply of water, potable, safe water for you and your family, and your grandkids for the years to come. Maybe not today because it's pouring down rain, but we cannot control the hydrologic cycle. We cannot control where that water falls. And so we need to plan for whatever crisis arrives. We need to have a plan in place to deal with it. The main thrust is to ensure that all citizens have a safe, dependable, affordable supply of water through 2050. That's the mission, and that's the ultimate goal of our committee. As the population here grows in 2050, I hope and think we will have plenty of water. But if we go through another 7-year drought or something like that, it's threatened. It can be easily threatened.